In lesson 2, we're going to continue exploring Pandas series, and we do want to use series 2, which we defined right here. We'll need to make sure that cell has been run. We can perform basic operations on Pandas datasets element-wise, similar as we could inside NumPy. Just recall that in native Python, this is much more difficult to do. So we're taking these values, 5, 10, 15, and 20, and we're just multiplying them by 2 right here. It's that simple. Down here we're using the NumPy exp method. If you recall from our NumPy course, we're just taking Euler's number and we're raising it to the power of 5 first. Then we're raising it to the power of 10, and then we're raising it to the power of 15, and we're raising it to the power of 20. So NumPy arithmetic methods work on series just fine. Interestingly, when we compare series 1 here with its indexes and values, this looks just like a Python list. But when we compare series 2, this looks just like a one-dimensional Python dictionary. And interestingly, we can define a Pandas series using a Python dictionary as well. And in this case, the keys of the dictionary are going to become the indices of the series, and the values obviously remain the values. Briefly looking back at series 2, we can use the in operator to check to see if an index exists in a series. And this will return true because Kiwis does in fact exist, but here clearly oranges does not exist. We would expect this to return false. The series that we created here, we've given the name convert. We're going to use this convert series down here to create an empty and also to reorganize the indices in our convert series. Let's look closely at this and notice the order. We've got Korea first and Russia last. And what we're saying down here is, well, let's change this and put Russia first and USA last, with Korea coming up in the 3rd place. So we're rearranging these 3, but we're leaving Canada out completely, and we're adding Mexico. And you might be wondering what's going to happen to the Mexico value since we're not defining a value for Mexico. Let's create this list and then create a new data series using the old one. And indeed we see that the reordering has taken place, where Russia is in fact first now, whereas it was last in our original convert series. And look what it's done with Mexico, however. It's placed Mexico secondly as we've requested, but it's given this not a number empty value indicator here. And so whenever we see this not a number indicator, it means we're missing values. So what we've done is created an empty inside this new object series. Now there are 2 powerful Pandas methods that we're going to use all the time in data analysis. The first is the isnull method. You may guess what these are. They're inverts of each other. If we run the isnull, we're asking if there is any null values in here. If we run this, it says that Mexico is a null index, but that Russia, Korea, and the USA are not null indexes. So what do you think this not null is going to return? Let's run this one and see. Well, that's the invert. Russia is not null, Korea is not null, and the US is not null, but Mexico is null, so Mexico now has the false value. What do you think is going to happen if we take our original convert series and we add it to our new object series? Well, let's run this and see. Well, there's been an auto alignment occurring here. We have conflicting data for Canada, so it just zeroes it out. It says that it can't assume a value here. Mexico likewise has no value defined. But for the indices that contain values, it has summed them together. This is called index alignment, and it's similar to the join operation with databases, for those of us familiar with relational databases.